Welcome to this very special Amazing Race 27 episode of URT Number, the Amazing Race podcast from Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Harmstone, and joining me as always is the Canadian who never answers my direct questions with direct answers, Logan Saunders.
Afternoon.
And I'm very pleased to say that finally, to begin a season, and I can't believe I'm saying this again, given that we tried to do this to begin the last season, we're being joined by Justin and Diana.
Hey! Hey, listen. Good things come to those who wait.
I know, but I'm really impatient.
Well, it's going to pay off.
Good, I'm glad.
When is season 31?
No idea. It's got to be soon, though.
You guys just got back from filming for it, as I understand it.
Well, we would have.
But somebody decided to gain a lot of weight, and they wouldn't let her go.
Grow a human.
So, just for the record, we ask this question every podcast. Are you pregnant?
Yes!
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I am, not Justin.
Yes. Diana is pregnant, and yes, we did get the call, and we had to say no. Well, we said yes for 2 days, and then we had to call back and say no.
Do you know who else got the potential call? Eric and Jeremy.
Oh.
Did they really?
Yep.
Wow, that would have been... I would love to race against them.
Yeah, they think that Leland, or you guys are familiar who's in the 31 cast, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They know one of the cast very well.
Yeah, one of them happens to be on our show.
Yes, they assume that Leo and Jamal probably took their spot, because both Eric and Jeremy agreed to do it.
Well, the crazy thing is apparently some people got called like 2 weeks before we did, and if we would have gotten called when other people got called, we never would have gotten pregnant.
We just started trying to have a baby. And if they would have called us to 2 weeks, we wouldn't have started.
But we were really good at getting pregnant, so it happened, it happened kind of quick.
You had more success.
Sorry.
You had more success with it than Uchenna and Joyce, is what you're saying.
Pretty much. We had 10 years of practice.
We were ready. So if we would have been part of that first batch of calls, we could have been on. But, oh well.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, when there's going to be a real All-Stars against all the real players. I want Eric and Jeremy on our season. Now that they got the call, that's even a thought. I would love to race against them because I know how good they are.
And I don't know if Michael edited it into the podcast with their interview with Sherry last week, but Sherry and Cole also got a call.
Wow.
And Cole said no.
Really?
It makes sense.
Yeah, he's got a new family.
New wife, new kid.
The "Are you pregnant?" question has now been replaced by "Did you get a call for 31?"
Yeah.
Surprisingly, the answers have been very yes.
Did you guys get the call for 31?
I can neither confirm nor deny. Just wait and see. You never know what might happen.
Maybe as a pit stop greeter.
Now that would be cool.
Yes.
If anyone can hook us up with that would be amazing.
Well, if they ever go to your country, I'm going to make sure that Bert knows. My boy Bert.
It's the penultimate leg of next season. Spoilers.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know the route.
You don't know the route. The route's cool.
No, I didn't know the route.
Spoiler free.
The only reason I did the cast is because I was going to be part of it, so I wanted to see who I was going to be up against.
There was lots of phone calls being circulated.
And everybody called us. Because they were like, we knew you were going to be part of it, so did you get a call? It was so fun.
And well, I know the final three, but Justin doesn't.
What?
Yeah.
I also know the final three.
Yeah.
I do not.
Well, only because there was a news article that had Final City with the final three teams.
A news article? Somebody?
Yeah, because remember like when we did it and they had like us on the lobster boat?
Right.
It was something like that, but in the finishing city. They saw the three teams.
Yeah, but nobody knew that the lobster boat was the final task. So unless you knew that was one of the final tasks, you wouldn't have known.
You knew that, yes, because you're in America.
But how do you know it's a lobster boat in America?
The final city of 31 was quite well spoiled in terms of it being there because of something else that happened.
Yeah, I told you where the final city was.
Oh, good. I forgot already.
Okay. He doesn't know.
They had a slight issue with the final city.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, big news story, I guess.
Yeah, it was. But I'm not saying any more because, I'm nice like that. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Well, thank you very much.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
that.
I try.
So, how were you guys cast for season 27 originally?
I think our proposal really is what made us a little more noticeable, because we had a plot, like we had gone to one of those
casino casting
places where you have 1 minute in front of the camera.
No producers.
And then I think it was our proposal, the video that Justin made, kind of got us noticed by Rachel Ray. And then I think from there, meeting Phil, whether Phil said something like you have to meet this couple or you have to at least give them a shot.
And one thing we didn't notice until after we were cast on the show is when we went back to stalk Elise on her Twitter, she actually tweeted a link.
Oh, something about like this couple.
Yeah, she was like, this couple, heart, or something like that. And I'm like, Elise tweeted about us, and that would have been the known. We would have known. But, yeah, once the video went semi-viral and went, BuzzFeed, AOL, and then Rachel Ray sealed the deal. A week later, we got the call after
We had made an application tape as well, and then I think it was like a week after we did Rachel Ray is we got the call to come out for a casting.
We had submitted our tape before Rachel Ray, so they had seen our tape before even going on Rachel Ray.
I think we laid it on, like, really thick.
Kind of made it hard for them to say no.
Well, you wouldn't leave the room until they said yes.
That's pretty much how it was going to be. If I'm going through all that work for my wife to say yes, I have to then go afterwards to go through all that work and force them to say yes. But what I couldn't do is force that cab driver to stay and win the Amazing Race.
Should have proposed to him?
I think that was what I should have done.
So yeah, that's more of the unique casting story that we've heard over the years, I would say. Not too many people get to be cast through a viral video, except for every single team who was on the season after you guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to been on the viral season. I like that we were on like a regular season because we are just regular people who happen to have a viral video. We're not like those guys. Pretty much everybody on that show.
Although we probably would have beat Dana and Matt.
Oh, 100%. Are you kidding me?
But Tyler and Corey would have been competition, so. You
guys are saying you would have been more cohesive than Dana and Matt throughout the course of the season?
Just a little.
Yeah.
Who would have been less cohesive? Dana and Matt or Logan and Chris?
I think if this was the final three, Dana, Matt, Logan, and Chris, I think we would have we would have looked like the Angels.
Yeah, there wouldn't have been BuddyTV articles written about you guys saying the green team is ruining the Amazing Race.
I did read that, and it did hurt my feelings, to be honest.
It's BuddyTV. No, it's like reading articles about reality TV on Zap to It and Vulture's top 25 teams of all time with Lisa and Joni and number 24. Rest in peace.
Didn't they think that it was ruining it because we were winning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because you guys were dominating so much. Nobody ever wrote articles about Mark and Rube Wilson that they were dominating Amazing Race Asia or Dave and Rachel during season 20. You guys just put on some green shirts and a green hat and suddenly that cues up the articles.
It might have also been a little bit of Justin.
More so than the color of the rainbow, it's the person's actual personality and character on TV that prompts the article.
That's what I'm going with.
But Justin's such a shrinking wallflower. You never hear anything from him.
Yeah, like Cindy and Rick walk into a room with Justin, and it's like, man, where did Justin go?
Exactly. I stayed humble the whole time, and I just, kept my head down as a true superfan and did what I did. Every superfan should have had my back, but instead, I come back to Reddit, and everybody hates me. Before I went on the show, everybody on Reddit's my best friend. Everybody wants to talk to me. I go on the show, come back, and everybody on Reddit hates me.
Not everybody on Reddit. There are 2 people who are on Reddit who don't hate you.
I think there's 4. There's probably 4, to be honest, but I was like, come on, man.
One of them is his dad. The other one is me.
Then there's Logan, who only mildly dislikes you, and then there's me.
Yeah, I know it's one of you, too, who keeps thumbs downing my videos before even watching it. The video doesn't even come out yet, and it's got thumbs down. I know one of you 2 are doing it every week.
It's actually a hired bot that we do, a hired Russian bot to thumb it down.
I very occasionally do it and thumbs down it and then thumbs up it afterwards.
That's messed up, Michael.
He wants his video to get priority over ours, that's why.
No, you keep begging it. If you keep begging, it doesn't happen.
So I take it you guys were fans of the show from season 1, or was it after season 1?
Justin's always been a fan. I'll let him speak to that, but he's the one that got me into it.
Yeah, I was watching Survivor, and I really jumped on the second season of Survivor, which led right into the first season of Amazing Race, which was just incredible for me to just take that. And then when I got with Diana, she's 10 years younger than me, so we have to talk about what the type of things that we can bond over. And travel is something that we both really, really loved. So we put together the love of travel, and we wanted to kind of hang out and get to know each other. So,
AKA Justin is cheap and didn't take me on dates.
Oh, that is hilarious.
So we stayed in and binge watched seasons of Amazing Race to get to know each other.
Oh my God.
That's half true.
They weren't even like the actual DVDs. Maybe Justin was so cheap that you had to use those ad-filled sites like Watch Series to get through the seasons.
I'm pretty sure it's when like Netflix, you had to get the DVD sent to your house.
I had DVDs sent to the house.
That 10-year age gap really comes into play there.
No spoilers for Logan on what Netflix will become. He still gets VCRs sent through the post from Netflix.
Oh, gosh.
I do still, actually right behind me, there's still the VHS tapes of every season of Amazing Race through season 1 through to 14. And on my VHS tape for season 1, it alternates between Amazing Race and episodes of season 14 of The Simpsons.
Well,
And
they had
Futurama.
straight back then.
Yes, that's really dating how long the Amazing Race has been around.
I know. I mean, Bart's already had grandkids.
Yes. Bart had to say no to 31 for that very reason.
So, as you guys know, season 31's cast, you know what could have been. You know they actually had an amazing cast set up of what could have been.
I think this cast is way better than it could have been. There were rumours going around that it was just going to be all Big Brother people to begin with, at which point I go, hell's no.
Yeah, but that was never real. That was just that fake website trying to drum up traffic because they know Big Brother has the most traffic. So that was never real. But I got
did
that.
Did that article directly come from Kelly and or Siobhan?
I don't know who it came from, but they were just drumming up traffic. They knew it was lies. But I think they were thinking long game. I mean, that's what the media does. They think the long game. They'll start with that, and they're like, oh, we just found out this. And then, they never even got to it was this season versus that season versus that season. It's like, come on. I don't know how much you want spoiler-free in your podcast.
We both know locations. We both know the cast. I know the boot order, Logan doesn't.
Wow. Are you happy with it?
No comment. I'm not saying anything, because I've still got to do a preview on this and pretend I don't know everything.
Oh, gotcha. I know the cast. I don't know anything about
I don't know
order. I don't know anything of Final Three. I know who should easily win this season. I think there's a clear favorite going in.
Who do you think should win?
I think the other green team is a clear favorite.
Do you know anyone else who had to say no to 31?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us?
I don't know. I'm looking. I don't know. Do we want? Are we allowed?
I don't know who you're thinking of, so.
All of the people that we knew that were going.
Yeah, but
that didn't make the list.
Some people got cut. Some people are getting calls to say, like, no, we don't.
Oh, so you just want people who said no?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, we knew Sherry and Cole. I mean,
I can't think of anyone else who said no.
I don't know. We don't know if Jim and Misty said yes or no. We know they got asked. I have a list, actually, in my Google Keep of all the people that we talked to. Kim and Allie, I know Allie said yes. I wasn't sure if Kimmy was able to do it. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any that perfectly said no for sure.
We definitely said no.
Yeah,
I had to send them an email and be like, oh, by the way,
Trust me, I was like, is there any way that she could go if she was 2 months pregnant, like by the end of it? No.
Well, they did have you should have just kept it hidden, because on Amazing Race Asia 3, there was a woman who ran the whole race while pregnant and made it all the way to the end.
Yeah, but we would have had to go do, like, physicals, like, during final casting. So we never would have made it past final casting.
Still would have been nice to have been flown out to the hotel. I told her, act like you don't know. We go out and we have a vacation for a week, and we get to see everybody who's going to be on the show.
And I could never do that, because I knew people were, like, like, we had to overnight our passports the next day, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm pretty sure I'm pregnant. So I don't know. Like, I just felt bad people doing all this work knowing that it's for nothing. So.
You had a conscience.
Yeah.
Speaking of the passports, were there any fake out locations for you guys on your season? Any fake visas that didn't get used?
No.
No. Every visa we had, we used.
Which was
We've
crazy.
heard that with the newer contestants.
You got to see it ahead of time, but we had visas for
India.
I'm looking through.
We had visas for India, Zambia, Zimbabwe.
India.
And that's those are the only two that we knew. But one of them was kind of covered.
And Brazil.
Oh yeah, and Brazil. But that was the first location, so we knew that before.
Oh, and this one.
We didn't know that one.
Yeah, Chinese. What's this?
Chinese.
Oh, no,
that got laid on.
That's when we went to China.
Oh, right.
That was our Shanghai trip.
Yeah, so it was just the two that we really knew, were India and Zambia, Zimbabwe. So those are the only two that we knew. But then again, we were super fans, so we knew that they used to put fake locations. So I was like, they might be fake.
But no, they just used all of them.
Yeah, I think the budgets are definitely a lot smaller than they used to be. So that's one of the little fees they can save, a couple $100 for each group of people that go through.
If only, yeah, that's too bad, because I think when we interviewed Kelly, she said that one of the other teams, I think, would try to research all the places that were on their visas to try and get that advantage.
Yeah, but like we didn't get our passports back until we got there.
Like, yeah, we weren't able to research it.
They didn't send it back to us, so we couldn't research it, because as soon as we flew out there, we gave them our backpacks. They looked through to make sure we didn't have any contraband items, and then they brought our passports up to our hotel room. Like, the night before we left is when they brought our passports back.
Okay. Did anyone try to smuggle in any contraband items, whether intentional or unintentionally, throughout the course of the race? Because we got a story recently from season 9 where the older couple, Fran and Barry, accidentally smuggled chicken sandwiches onto a flight into Australia.
That's crazy, because we brought protein bars and that was allowed. I did have a little notebook, though, that I wanted to bring as our notebook, and it had, like, kind of a map on it. So Justin and I had just decided, like, we probably shouldn't bring this one because they might think that this is, like, cheating with the map.
Yeah, it had, like, a piece of Norway or whatever, like some North.
That piece of Norway would have come in so handy for you guys on your season.
Yeah, I mean, it could have made the difference in the end. I mean, Kelsey and Joey are lucky we didn't bring that book.
So you guys had the live start. I'm guessing was there quite a few Amazing Race fans that watched you guys take off from Venice Beach, other than Dale?
The crazy thing was, so here's a little, I don't know if you know this one, but that morning, Justin and I, like, before we left, we were watching the news. We were trying to look at a map based on traffic and try to see where the airport was, like what road to take to the airport.
Well, what's the best road to take to the airport? Because traffic always talks about that on the news, so we're watching CBS News. Yeah.
So on CBS, we see come down to Venice Beach for an Amazing Race.
So we knew we were leaving from Venice Beach
before we left.
Because they had left us in a hotel room with TVs, and we turned on CBS and saw that. And we knew what time, because it was like come out at noon.
That was like 9 a.m., but yeah.
Don't they usually remove all the, like, TVs and radios and everything?
No, they removed...
From once the race starts, yes.
No, we had TVs in the room. They removed they just removed your clock. Pretty sure that they removed the clock and the phone.
We only had TV in one country.
What country was that?
The nice one.
The nice one.
All the other countries are horrible, but one was nice.
No, we had like a VIP hotel room. Remember that was part of what we won in Poland? Not Poland. Rotterdam.
No, because we also had a TV.
Amsterdam?
When we went to
Rotterdam.
Are you sure? Well, tomato, they're the same city.
Buenos Aires and Rotterdam, we had TVs. Other than that, they took everything from us. No clocks.
And I disagree with that. I think we did have TV.
Okay.
You think that they're going to carry TVs out of, like, 12 rooms?
What do you think? The TVs weigh 50 pounds like 80 years ago? They're like flat screens. Your grandmother can carry a flat screen.
Down. You're going to have to ask another member of 27 to see what they remember.
Mummy, Daddy, please stop fighting.
Double source our information.
Yeah.
Double source.
And if I recall correctly, at the starting line, the first team to complete the task got the only seats on that first flight. Did that worry you guys? That would be like an immediate target since you were the only team on that first flight, which they had never done as a twist before?
No, but looking back, that definitely probably wasn't the smartest idea to go for it as hard as we did.
And why is that?
Because it set the tone. It made it easy to be the first target. 10 other teams bonded, and it's the first time. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but it's the first time also in Amazing Race history that 10 teams teamed up against one team from the first episode tried to get them out. And we didn't know that until we got back from Amazing Race, that was the case.
There was a 10-team alliance established against you?
On the first flight, they agreed that we would be the first team out.
And you almost were because of another unusual twist for the first leg where they did no fast forwards at all during the season except for the opening round.
Yeah, about that.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Well, that's another thing in hindsight. Like, I mean, if you watch that part again when Justin's like, "We're going for it," you can kind of see my face like look up at the sky. I'm a little unsure. Only because in my head, like, we were in the lead at that point. But, I mean, in the very beginning, I really didn't... I was kind of following Justin, I guess you could say. So I didn't know... I thought what he was doing was the best thing because I didn't really know any better. But I definitely found my voice later on in the season, which I wish I would have found it in the very first episode, because probably would have put my foot down and said, like, we're in first, let's stay in first, and let's just keep going.
But then my answer would have been, okay, if we're in first and somebody uses the fast forward, we're no longer in first, so let's go for the fast forward. Also, there's only been one time in Amazing Race history that weather stopped a fast forward, so the odds were pretty good in our favor. Everybody's like, oh, Amy and Jason. I'm like, yeah, well, they also won.
And you guys were very close to winning as well.
Stupid Joey and Kelsey.
We were also really close to losing, so...
Hong Kong was when we were close to losing. Other than that, it was never.
No, the first episode.
We weren't close to losing the first episode. You think we won? You think Kelly and Siobhan, we would have been anywhere near the time it took them? I could have. I would have beat those dudes if I had to use my feet.
When you had all the tears, you thought we were going home.
Obviously, Captain Obvious.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I had all the. Yeah, that's why I was crying. I didn't. If I thought that we even had a chance, then I wouldn't have even been crying. But we lost a whole hour, and I'm like, there's no way that they couldn't finish this task in an hour. But then again,
thank goodness they weren't smart.
Thanks, Liz.
Today I learned that Kelly and Siobhan are dudes. That's the big takeaway from that answer.
TMZ headline in the making.
Yeah, it's as fake as the headlines about the rumors for 31. Do you think, though, that going for the fast forward and dropping down to 9th place for the first leg helped alleviate the target off of your back? Because I have a feeling that it wasn't 9 versus 1 at the start of the next leg after you guys finished the first leg in 9th place.
I disagree. I don't think we were a target from the very beginning. I think You could see at the airport in Brazil, trying to figure out where to go to the cathedral in Argentina. I think that's what made us a target. When we had figured out the clue with James Earl, we kind of agreed we won't tell anybody. In hindsight, he didn't say that back to us. So, Justin strolling up and saying, "Oh, I guess we have deals with everybody." That kind of is what rubbed people the wrong way.
You're totally wrong, because he 100% expected James Earl to come over because they had an agreement. Remember, he's running his head over. He's like, hey, shaking his head because they had an agreement. Don't say no.
They had an agreement because Tanner and Josh won the express pass. So after that point, they
all had an agreement.
They were looking for information.
Okay.
And whoever kind of helped them out and gave them information, they would give the other express pass to.
Okay.
You might want to double check that as well.
Double source.
Yes.
What would you guys have done if you had the relay express pass?
We would have given it to the person,
the team we thought,
the team behind us. Because if you give it to the team behind you, you're not really pulling anybody from behind and giving them a chance to make it ahead of you. You're giving somebody that's in second place, that's competitive with you, the chance to just stay up with you.
We only had one alliance, and it was Kelsey and Joey, and they were always in second place, so that would have probably made sense to just give it to them.
You're also assuming that the express pass is ever useful.
Well, ask
Denise
and James Earl if that express pass was useful.
Oh, well, I guess if you win a prize at the end of a leg, then I suppose, yes, in that situation, it can be useful if that's your goal.
Correct. Winning a leg of the race and also stopping the green team from tying the record as well.
You guys would have actually, if they didn't have that express pass, I guess you guys would have, instead of winning 5 legs in a row, that right there would have bumped it up to 7 wins in a row.
Yeah.
You no longer have to share that tie with Salmon Paul or Valerie Bodana from Amazing Race Ukraine.
Ukraine. Why do you even count? They don't count the Ukraine.
I think Phil would count. I think Phil definitely counts the Ukraine since he was arrested there during the Amazing Race when they filmed a leg there in season 10.
That's one reason why you don't count it. Prejudice.
Prison doesn't count?
No, we had some good times though.
Some good times in the Ukraine. This podcast has gone so differently from our podcast with Kelly yesterday.
You're welcome.
Well, that's what you get when you get the green team. You get mom and dad disagreeing.
Yeah, I got to double source information.
We raced 2 completely different races, if you haven't noticed.
I feel like Kurt and Bergen would have been more cohesive in telling us how a race was than you guys. You guys never had a self-drive leg during your season. In fact, I believe it's the only season, probably ever in maybe even any international franchise, where you didn't have to self-drive once. Did production ever say why you guys didn't have to drive?
No, they never came out and said it, but, we kind of thought it was because of how horribly Kurt and Bergen did, and everyone kind of not knowing how to drive in 26.
Which caused the loss of the endorsement that they've had for years, so they didn't have a car endorser for that season. So, those 2 legs where they didn't have any prizes, probably would have been the car leg, and we would have had a self-drive. I think we would have did pretty well in a self-drive.
Yeah, we did practice that. I learned how to do drive manual just for the Amazing Race. So, we would have been ready for it. I don't mind not driving, but Justin thinks that would have really set us apart even more if we had the chance to drive.
Do you know other teams who either would have improved or performed much worse if they had to do self-drive legs? Is there another team that just couldn't drive a stick shift to save their lives?
I'd assume Kelly and Siobhan.
I would assume they didn't do much preparation for the race and would have no reason to know how to drive a stick shift.
I think Kelsey and Joey practiced or prepared. I'm sure Kristen and Tiffany prepared.
Yeah, they bought a car. Kristen and Tiffany bought a car.
That's right. And they brought rope. So they were prepared for any situation.
Yeah, they brought like 20 feet of like survival rope.
Did they end up using the rope?
They did in Argentina for the cardboard.
Oh, where I believe it was Krista took that infamous tumble.
Yeah, one of 4 on the race.
And I assume the rest of the rope may or may not have been used with Josh and/or Tanner.
Well, they were getting pretty close in those first couple episodes.
I'm sure Rick and Cindy would know how to. Well, I'm sure. I feel confident Rick would know how to drive stick shift because he's into like
Sports
fast
guys.
cars. But then it would be up to Cindy to navigate. So that was something that Justin and I like talked about. Like, okay, well, I would drive because you're probably better at maps. So I had to learn how to drive stick shift. I had watched like YouTube videos before we even got in a car. I had watched videos on how to drive manual. So I kind of picked it up pretty quick once I got in the car.
I'm not sure if Jin and Enoch had a chance to practice either.
They didn't say whether or not they could drive a stick shift or have cars.
I'm pretty sure that they didn't have the chance to practice. I remember like Enoch telling me that we didn't have a chance to practice stick shift. And I don't know about the cousins either, or how that would have worked out
Yeah, I don't know.
in other countries,
I don't know.
That would have been interesting.
I think you guys may have talked about this on your guys' podcast that
They
you
have
were
a podcast?
loosely aligned with that you were. Yes, yes, we have to talk about our competition, Michael.
We make a point of not talking about our competition, though. I'll have to blur out the name and everything.
Yeah, just censor it. You guys had a loose alliance with Alex and Adam?
Yes.
Yes.
Literally right before
Right before
they got
Argentina.
Yeah, right before they got the boot. We were like, okay, like if we're ever around you guys, we'll make sure we help you out. And same vice versa. Like that was one of the teams
It was in the airport.
Yeah, in the airport we were trying to form an alliance with, and I thought that a lot of people would consider them underdogs and really not want to align with them. So I figured they would be looking for somebody to align with, and we didn't get a really good vibe from a lot of people. So,
how disappointed were you guys that you guys were able to get to the end, but yet Alex and Adam just came up a bit short during the race?
Oh, that's
No, Logan.
oh man.
What?
So one of the things that Justin comments about is when that clue came up about the Cathedral of Polo. Cathedral of Polo was in quotes.
Yes, it was.
And Justin knew that it wasn't a place, that was like a hint to somewhere.
Yeah.
So a lot of people blame that the cab driver couldn't find the Cathedral of Polo, but Justin knew, like, take me to the big place where they play polo. That's what he told our cab driver, and our cab driver knew exactly where to go because Justin knew the game and knew how the clues are written. So some people took that literally, take me to the Cathedral of Polo, and thought that they were going to a church because we had just been to the church or the cathedral where the Pope was baptized. So they thought it was like a theme almost. So.
And then other people just got in the cab and said, take me to the Cathedral of Polo, and made the cab driver figure out the clue. So there was a lot of interesting things that happened on that leg that a lot of cab drivers, Adam and Alex actually got dropped off in the middle of a parade or a protest or something like that. They never
that
even
sounds like Buenos Aires from when I was there. There's like a parade of protests. And in fact, when I was there, when I was staying with Maggie in La Plata, they're like, get to Buenos Aires before noon because that's when protests are going to happen on the metro and in the streets. And they were in the middle. One of Maggie's sisters is a school teacher, and all the school teachers in Buenos Aires were on a strike. So that does not surprise me at all.
Yeah, well, now that you're a world traveler, you got some
you have better stories than us.
I don't know about that.
We're going to look forward to your new podcast when you ditch Michael and you have your own Logan Travels the World podcast.
He basically has already. It's fine. I'm used to it. He'll still convince me to edit it for him.
I'll pay you in Japanese yen starting on Christmas Eve.
We don't deal in foreign currencies after last time, Logan.
That is true. Do you guys know about our foreign currency debacle?
No, I do not know about your foreign currency debacle.
So I was trying to even up the bill with Michael after we had traveled through the UK.
Yeah, so Logan was staying with me for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I, being the nice person I am, dropped him off at the airport, and he settled up his debts with me, and accidentally gave me a foreign note.
I paid most of it in British pounds, but I was like, oh, there's another pocket with other notes too, and I thought it was more British pounds, but it was actually Croatian kuna. Because I looked, there's royalty on the bill and everything. It looked like British pounds to me. So it's like, oh, here's 10, quote unquote, 10 British pounds, but really it was 10 Croatian kuna, which is the equivalent to about 2 British pounds.
So you stiffed him $8.
Yeah.
Well, with exchange, it's closer to like 15 or 16 US dollars, probably.
Wow.
The really fun bit is I didn't even tell Logan until he started podcasting with me again, and then just went on camera and said, "This is what you fucking gave me."
And what was even more insulting is that a couple months later, the Amazing Race Canada had an episode in Panama, and the title of the episode was "Can you show me your kuna?"
Didn't get mentioned at all.
So, speaking of that, I can't believe we're still only on leg 2. How controversial, did you guys get a lot of flack for not taking off your hat in the cathedral during leg 2?
No, because it's not a big deal. No,
yeah,
I mean...
It didn't come up. Like, we get an extra sheet of info, and normally it would say, like, in this country, women should wear long pants and not show their shoulders and things like that, but there was nothing extra that said we should take our hats off or you should take your hat off.
Yeah, it was raining and freezing outside, so everybody was cold and had hats on.
No, I think you're the only one that really had a hat on.
Was it worse to wear a hat in a cathedral, you think, in the eyes of the casual viewers, or pull a Laura and Tyler and spit on Peruvian potatoes? Where does it rank on that scale?
Oh, so much worse.
Oh, come on. There got to be potatoes. We didn't mean anything by it. They were literally just spitting on these people's food.
To be fair, there was no petition when you guys wore a hat in a cathedral.
There was no Change.org petition, and the Peruvian potato fiasco did get 21 signatures on top of that. So
wow,
you guys got off scot-free or spud-free, I guess, in this situation.
Lucky.
And how awesome are gauchos? And
Gaucho.
Are you going to train your child to be a gaucho?
Unfortunately, no. Well, I'm a vegetarian now, so my child's gonna preferably not eat meat and not be wanting to be a gaucho or have to do any gaucho meat challenges.
I used to wear gaucho pants. That's about it as far as me and gauchos.
And I like nachos. That's just close.
Would you borrow the rope from Tiffany and Krista if you were still into the whole gaucho thing?
I would have to pass on that one.
Are you a real vegetarian or are you a Logan vegetarian?
Hey.
I'm a real vegetarian. I was actually a vegan for 100 days, a full vegan, never cheated.
He doesn't eat anything but his eyes. So, he'll have eggs, but nothing else.
What about potatoes?
Only if they don't have the eyes.
Yeah, because Logan claims to be a vegetarian, but did end up having chicken.
You're traveling through Europe as a vegetarian at certain points was tough. Very minimal selection.
Well, we talked about this too, that if we ever traveled, that Justin, I think, would eat meat if we traveled because...
Only if it was like a rich part of whatever culture we were trying to get invested in. If for some reason, like when we went to Africa, we were lucky enough to meet a king, which you guys never got to see. So that's cool. But if the king offered me hey, I just impala or warthog, which we had,
we did eat that in Africa.
Then I would have tried it. I mean, it's the king offering you food. I'm not going to say I'm a vegetarian,
The king offered you Pumbaa.
Pretty much. No, we did eat warthog and impala when we stayed at the Backpackers Lodge in Zimbabwe.
You met an actual king.
Yes.
Yes.
So to the third leg, after we got spit on and we did the dancing, we went into like a little village area. You can talk.
Yeah, didn't he give us the clue or no?
Yeah.
He gave us the clue to go to the next place, and he was sitting on like a zebra skin throne with a lion skin like on the floor in front of him.
Yeah, and it was legit looking.
He had like a crown made out of bones and stuff, but I think they cut that part out because the lion skins, it was right around Cecil the Lion.
And Cecil happens right, obviously in the same country, and it was a big controversy, so I think they edited that part out.
And yet in season 30, they go to a safari in Zimbabwe to make up for the king and all the animals he had skinned for himself.
Yeah, I don't know why they went right back. That was interesting.
And I didn't notice this until today, but you snuck in a sip of mate during the Buenos Aires leg, I think. How did you like mate?
I actually enjoyed that. It was warm and refreshing, and Diana was like,
you don't even know what's in that.
Yeah,
what germs he has.
She's like, yeah, you could have just caught something. I was like, it's boiling. I'm not gonna catch anything. It's like boiling water.
Yeah, but it could have been like foreign drugs in there. Like
even better.
Justin takes a lot more risks like that than I do.
It's part of the culture. The dude's not gonna offer me drugs on camera.
It could have been laced with something.
What do you guys think? Good move or bad move?
I like mate with or without sugar, so I say it's a good move.
Michael?
Yeah, good move, whatever. You only live once.
I think he put his mouth on the straw.
How else are you going to drink it?
From the side.
For the record, everyone shares the same straw with mate, and somehow, I don't know what it is, but nobody ever gets sick from the straw. It's a very communal thing with mate. Everyone drinks from the same straw, and you have to drink it in a single sip until all of the liquid is gone. That's how you drink mate.
Really?
Yeah, did you drink the whole thing, Justin? Because otherwise, those locals are going to be very furious with you.
There's going to be another online petition.
Yeah.
I think you just took a sip.
I just took a sip because I had to get right back because I wanted to win. So I wasn't going to waste that much time. You notice I everywhere I went, I wanted to appreciate a little bit of the culture, stop for a second and dance while Diana's doing something. Something like that. Like, I get in for a couple seconds and I get out. A little bit of a love and then I get out because obviously I wanted to win every episode of the race.
And that audio will definitely not be spliced into the Indonesian face cream clip.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
2 seconds in, 2 seconds out, I think, for your words just now.
Oh, here we go.
All right. Where are we at? Oh, yes, we talked about the gauchos, and after that, Josh and Tanner kind of fall from their leadership position, and they kind of start fading after this third leg. Is it all because they pulled a muscle, or were they just not prepared for the endurance aspect of the Amazing Race?
I think there was multiple parts to this. I think during that Buenos Aires, me and Diane, there was a really long stretch. I would say probably quarter-mile stretch of dirt road, maybe a little longer than that they didn't show. And the boys had a lead on us, and we could see them. And they saw us behind, and they were kind of walking. And whenever they turned around, me and Diana would run a little bit. And then we would, they would turn back around, and we would kind of walk. And then they would turn back around, and we would run a little bit. And then at that point, we were running so much, and it was hot. Diana was like, do you mind if we walk? There's the rest of this. And that was cool. But then we turned the corner, we realized that
where the museum
was. Museum was right there, and it was like, she got this shot of adrenaline in her, and we just took off. And we literally got within seconds of winning that leg.
But too, we knew that we really wanted to push them because in a competitive way, that the more we push them, the more Tanner would push his body, and the more that might hurt him in the end, but help us in the long run. So
I was just talking about the third episode, and they were talking about probably the second episode where we won that leg.
Yeah.
But yeah, that leg, if we go back to the second episode where we won, that was the only time where we felt that we were on a television show. Because we ran and got to the Cathedral of Polo, and we ran and we got to the mat, and Phil wasn't there yet. We beat Phil to the mat.
They had to reshoot you going to the mat, I guess?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, and it was so bad because, I mean, there's no, like we say, all the wins that we ever had, that was the best win. Our first win was the absolute best feeling. And when we turned that corner and saw the mat,
We cried.
I mean,
cried.
like we were both crying, and we're running to the mat, and there's, Phil standing up on the bleachers, and we're filled with emotion of like, oh my God, we really just did this. And Phil comes down and was like, yeah, we need to do that again. So I was like, oh my God.
We didn't think you were going to get here that fast.
So we had to kind of hustle back down, turn the corner again, and then rejog.
And actually run again. But
Did Josh and Tanner have to run again too?
No, but it was fun to watch.
Hamstring.
That's exactly where they pulled it, and to pull it, there was zero chance that they were going to win that leg. Like, I don't know why they hadn't even thought that they had a chance of winning the leg, or that it was important enough to do it. But that was the beginning of the end for them.
Did you give Tanner any advice when he went into radio as well?
Actually, I did. Because the station that he went to was, I worked with the guy who works mornings there in Philadelphia, and I made sure that put in a good word, and they knew that he was good people. And
explain the industry.
I explained to how the industry works and what they're going to offer you because you're the new guy and the type of things like that. And if he ever needed any advice, I'd help him out. I mean, I've been doing this since 2001, so it's kind of my thing.
All right. I was trying to see how awkward I can make that.
Just taking you off your train of thought slightly for a bit of radio nerding there, Logan.
I just want to see how awkward I can make that pause. I'm like, who is going to chime in first? And then wait a solid 10 seconds and be like, I feel like it was an awkward enough of a pause.
Yeah, a bit of advice there, Logan. Don't leave that much dead air if you're doing radio. The emergency tape will cut in.
Let's just cut it to, I don't know, cut it to an O-Town song to cover up the gap. So that's, usually you guys there's quite a few equalizers, as is the case with most recent seasons, but that bus in the third leg really spelled the end for Ernest and Jin. Did they just have no chance of really catching up to the other teams?
At that point, yeah, they were done. Unless somebody really messed up, they were pretty much done. Did they have a chance to get on a bus before that?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure that they could have done anything at that point. That they were so far behind that they just missed out.
And that third leg seemed like it was a really quick day of filming. I'm guessing once you got to the town, how many hours did it take to finish that leg?
Ooh.
Hours to finish the gaucho?
Yeah, the gaucho, yeah.
The whole leg. Oh, I'd say like 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
That's short. Wow.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I feel like throughout the whole race that I thought things, just because we had watched so many seasons and some bus rides were 24 hours long. So I just anticipated the whole experience taking longer than it did. But there were some legs that were over pretty quickly, or tasks that I thought were over pretty quickly. Not that it was disappointing, but I don't know, you just kind of think that your endurance would be tested more than it was when you have a 8-hour leg or something, or a 12-hour leg that you're really being pushed. But in the end, you're done in 2 hours and that's it.
Any other legs that were as short as the gaucho leg or close to it? I assume it'd be tough to crack 2 hours.
Well, maybe one of the Africa legs. That was short because it got cut in the middle of the day. Nobody expected it to just end at the Backpackers Lodge. But what was the first task of that day? That was the bungee. The bungee jump was the next. Yeah,
we just landed in Africa.
And then we were off from the airport.
We got spit on.
We got spit on. That was.
We did the Batoka Gorge.
That was 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But
that's half a leg, so I don't really.
Yeah, you don't count it because that's half a leg. That day didn't last 2 hours.
There was a whole thing about the whole spitting. I just was reminded of it now, where people were accusing that I think that the women weren't being spit on by the locals.
No, I got spit on.
There was no rhythm to it. Some people were like, only the colored people with color.
Oh yes, it was race. It wasn't gender. Right. It was.
Yeah,
It was
so,
all.
you know, well, too, like I think Tanner and Josh got spit on more in their like waist area. I mean, Denise and Tiffany and Krista. I mean, and Justin and I, we really got spit in the face.
It was 100% face.
Although, thinking back, like when that happened, I didn't have the reaction that some people had, and I kind of think like I felt like I was being blessed by a pope. So it's like I have to just be respectful. Whatever this is like a blessing. I thought we were gonna drink from it. Like when she drank from that, I'm thinking she's gonna pass me this cup and I'm gonna drink from it as well. And instead she spits on us.
Which is great. It was so awesome.
So I was like, okay, welcome.
It was supposed to represent the mist. It's supposed to represent the falls, the Victoria Falls. So that was kind of the representation of it.
It said like a traditional Makuni village welcome, and I'm thinking, oh my god, I gotta eat something. I gotta eat a bug. I don't know. So being spit on was like, this is nothing.
Yeah, so that was quick. We met the king, got the task, and we're out. Jumped right back in the cab, and then went on to the next one.
If Colin Christie had to experience that, do you think Colin would have been so intense that he would have spit back on the other person at the bench, just not for understanding that it was part of the ritual?
It was so hard. She was happy. She had this big smile on her face. You could never spit back at that lady.
I don't think we've ever talked about spitting so much in one podcast.
You're welcome.
At least not one that didn't feature a face screen clip at the end.
Oh, Curtin Brody. Were you guys surprised that there was a U-turn at an orphanage?
Yes, especially with the pit stop right there in sight.
Yeah, I hated that.
'Cause you see the pit stop and you just want to go there, so it just, I don't know.
A lot of people would use the U-turn if they thought that there was a chance that somebody behind them could catch them before they get to the finish line. If the finish line's right there, there's really no reason to use the U-turn.
Because you know where you stand overall, I guess. Well, 90% of the time you would know where you would stand. Not much mystery.
So it just kind of took away from it. And that was some people online said that we were stupid for not U-turning the boys or using the U-turn at the time. But we know, like, you can only use at that point, use a U-turn once unless it's a blind U-turn. So there was no reason for us to use it there. We felt we could beat the boys without the U-turn, and we would rather use it later in the game if for some chance we felt that we needed it.
Do you think they'll ever do a twist where, because now they've switched out the U-turn rules a little bit, where now you U-turn prior you start a detour test. Do you think they'll ever up the ante a bit more and make you decide if you want to use the U-turn right out of the gate at the start of the leg?
First task, U-turn. I think they're always trying new things, and a lot of times new things don't work, and you don't know if they're going to work until you hear how everybody reacts to them. Sometimes when you're in a room, everybody's a yes man to the person who came up with the idea if the person's important. So and that idea gets through. And then you have stuff like last season.
Right.
They have the face-off. The face-off.
Did you have a fun time last season just covering it? I was just wondering, was it a fun season to cover?
It would have been had it ended just one little differently, and then it would have been a great season.
Given I was looking through my Twitter likes earlier, and I got to the bit where it was just constantly just liking everything you posted about trolling people, basically.
Oh my god! And you know me, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to let these trolls just pick on people. I'm going to give it back to them. So I had some fun a couple days.
Are those people still going to be popping into the chat room for season 31, you think? Especially when there's more Big Brother teams that you'll have to deal with. Granted, not as crazy of a fan base as fresh off of BB19, but are you prepared for the same 5 or 6 people that couldn't help but clog your chat room?
Yeah, I hope they come, and I hope that the season ends the way I think it's going to end, so I could just finally tell them that take it. Just take it.
I see. With Jasmine and Danielle, what are your thoughts on them overall? And apparently I've heard that they are pretty much the fastest team on foot if every leg came down to a foot race.
Yeah, we were scared of them because we knew that they were track stars. We knew that they were athletically built, but
Jin and Enoch were faster. Jin and Enoch
yeah, but that's
were
probably like
monsters.
Yeah, but that's probably like male-female difference in like track star, like in track stars.
But they were both like track winners, like medalists.
Yes.
And these
but
are
they
dancers who beat them in a foot race to the taxis.
Jin and Enoch and the track stars would have both beaten Justin and I in a foot race.
Oh, everybody there would have beaten us in a foot race. There's not many teams we could have beaten in a foot race.
But I think Jin and Enoch were faster because like they're athletic and they're dudes. Yeah.
Because Jin and Enoch beat them in a foot race to the cabs and then beat them in a foot race back to, and this is in the first leg, and the foot race to the bikes. And that was the only time that we saw them race because, as you know, we weren't in a position to see them to finish.
It's hard to watch people behind you.
And they also were featured in the slowest foot race, an amazing race of all time, with balancing the pots on the head. Was it pots?
No, it was a basket of fruit.
Oh, basket of fruit, right. It was Louis Griffin's fruit basket. It's been over 3 years, Michael. It's been over three years since the season filmed.
That still gets me because I've never been so frustrated, but having to like try to talk yourself into being calm. And I would say, like, I've never been so calmly frustrated because you would take 2 steps and it would just slide right off your head.
Yeah, we don't have flat heads. And some people have flat heads. Some people know how to walk with stuff on their heads. Some people have good balance. I got an egg head, and it was tough for me to balance.
And it was terrible. Not terrible, but, I mean, it was inspiring watching these women, like, literally just relax. And they're walking by you with this fruit on their head, and they got a baby on their back. And here is Justin and I, like, trying relentlessly to not have this fruit fall off our head.
We sucked. That was one task we sucked at. There wasn't many, but that was one.
Was Phil Kogan taunting you from the pit stop as he watches all the teams go super slow?
Yes.
Lots of trash talk?
He does. Like, what's taking so long? You guys going to make it here? Like, you going to let that guy pass you? Nah, he doesn't really say much. He doesn't really say much. He's unbiased.
He didn't moon you or flip you off during that task either.
He came by and kept tickling my underarms, so I would drop the fruit, and I thought that was kind of unfair.
Did he do that to everybody? Because you said it was unbiased, so I assume he had to do that to everybody. It would have made for great television. Or did he tickle you with his eyebrow?
The eyebrow. Justin gave it back, though.
With the whole Rotterdam and Amsterdam mix-up, who was the most geographically challenged team on your season? Whether it be just not knowing places in the world or not having a good sense of direction while traveling.
I'd have to give that one to, like, Rick and Cindy. I mean, they missed their stop, right? Didn't they miss their stop?
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that you have to be, like, alert and attentive to everything that's happening. Like, I would want a list of all the stops, and I'd be sitting there, like, crossing off each one because sometimes, like, with the language barrier, they would say things quickly, and I would need to know, okay, we're one stop away. No matter what I hear, I'm double, triple checking that this is the stop we're getting off at.
Yeah. Even though Krista and Tiffany, they were a little fun. They had some fun with it twice, I think. They had some issues. But I think Rick and Cindy would probably win that award.
I hear that the Netherlands is proposing to have a super city called Rosterdam to avoid future confusion.
Rosterdam?
Rosterdam. Which would very much fit in with their with the current marijuana culture. Oh yes, how would you have felt if there was head-to-head tasks or /face-off/ double battles on your season? Would that have given you guys even more of a boost, since it seems like tasks were your guys' greatest strengths during the season?
I think we would have been able to handle whatever was thrown at us, whether it was the face-to-face, head-to-head, whatever they call them.
Double face-offs, backflip, whatever you want to call them. I think we would have did really well at them. And at some point, we were looking forward to something like that with the boys. And I think the closest thing we had to that was that boat paddling in Africa was the closest thing we had to like a face-off, because we were both kind of putting the boats in the water at the same time, and then we got the paddles we got in, and Me and my lovely wife here were working perfectly in sync and dusted them.
That was probably one of the funniest clips. They're like, I don't get why we're not catching them, and there's Justin and I like rowing in sync, and Tanner and Josh just are spinning in circles.
One of our rapid fire questions is, we'll just get it out of the way now, is always asking who is your favorite member of NSYNC. So let's just get that one out of the way now. Who is your favorite member of NSYNC, since you guys were always so in sync during the race?
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, I was like, gotta go with Justin Timberlake.
What about Backstreet Boys?
Oh, I wasn't really a Backstreet fan.
I was like, do people ever have a favorite Backstreet Boy?
Not as much. Maybe some of them that are a bit more out of the loop or younger might go with Aaron Carter, because they assume at some point he's gonna get upgraded to Backstreet Boy or Backstreet Man.
I can probably only name 3 of the
It's
5.
AJ, Nick, and that's it.
Brian.
There's Howie.
Howie. Hey.
I pick Howie then.
Howie's got the best name. Howie's such a...
Poor Howie.
We asked Haley about her favorite New Kids on the Block member, and
That I
her
can
answer
do.
was pretty much by default.
Joey McIntyre.
Ouch, Jonathan Knight is going to be so pissed.
No, I was like, babe, Jonathan got us the tickets for the show, okay?
I know. Well,
I know, you still like Joey because he's the
I
cute
like
one.
Joey.
Logan, who's your favourite member of B44?
Oh, I can never tell those twins apart. They both have the same 2001 style frosted tips on the top of their heads. How many times did you guys cross the Zambia and Zimbabwe border during those 2 legs of the race?
I'm going to say
Not as many as Jasmine and Danielle.
How many times did they cross it? Was it 20? I thought I could have sworn they said 20 somewhere.
Yeah,
in some of their
they went through
interviews.
4 times, though.
I'm going to say 2 or 3.
Is
2,
it
I
easy
think.
border crossings, or is it really just stop, hand over the passport, and go through it? Is it not? Is it more like the EU?
It depends. It was pretty easy, but
There would be like lines though, so
there's only like 2 guys working. And if there's a bus of people, like there was the second time we went through, and we're trying to find out if we can get ahead of this bus of people, things don't get pretty. But I ain't waiting for a bus of people. Sorry, I got a race to run.
Has anyone ever used those flying car things around Victoria Falls to jump to illegally cross the border?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
That could be the expansion for that company.
I think that's I think you're onto something.
Forget going around the falls. It's all about that illegal immigration into one country or the other.
Yeah. No comment on that.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's best not to get into politics on this podcast. We just had Kelly on yesterday where we had to clearly air on things she said about POWs.
Oh, God. I don't want to hear any of that. Next topic.
Of course. French rapping. How is that not caught on yet?
Because Passe is just, he's good, but he hasn't had his breakout hit yet. From Passe on Solo.
that is a song that Justin and I will play in the car when we're driving though. Every once in a while we'll just bust that rap out and we'll go for it. Justin's
boom.
definitely better than I am still. I'm just not quick enough. Like I said, I have a stutter. I was in speech since I was in elementary school. Under pressure, I think I stutter much more. So that just was something I did not want to do. I knew I couldn't speak that fast without messing up, but with some vibes and some attitude, I was able to convince the judges that I got it.
Well, are you going to do a carpool karaoke episode where it's you guys singing that song and then you have Twista jump in and see if he can rap it faster than Justin?
And Twister.
I would try.
That's one thing that I give her. She hated me for making her do that, but she never stopped. She never gave up. She always tried.
Never give up, never quit, never surrender as an Amazing Race 31 contestant loves to say on Survivor. Do you guys still own the Fitbits? Does everyone have a Fitbit? Was it like the Oprah Winfrey giveaway where they gave everyone Fitbits?
So they did take it back at the end of the race, but then they mailed you new ones. So we did have to give them back, but I'm pretty sure, right? They mailed us brand new ones.
Yeah, they mailed us all brand new ones. Yeah.
We have it somewhere. Some of the rubber started
coming off a little bit. The glue and the rubber kind of got undone after a while.
So
it still work, but I got an Apple Watch, so I kind of use that.
Yeah, I have a Fitbit Blaze, I think, that I like and use, but so
they have a product called a Fitbit Blaze now. They're trying to really make it cool sounding.
I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. It almost looks like an Apple Watch, and you can hook it up to Bluetooth to your phone and get text messages and not calls, but it'll notify you when you're getting a call. But you can get your text messages on it, just not respond or anything.
And that is a perfect plug. If only that Ford had you guys for season 27 to heal all the damage done by Curtin Bergen.
This episode is powered by Fitbit.
Yes.
We love Fitbit.
And I think our step count is 0.
We'll always love Fitbit.
Yeah, they gave us the most winningest sponsored prize.
Ever.
$40,000?
31.
31,000?
No spa or massage, as Phil would say.
A spa.
We got a massage while we were on the race. That was part of our winnings.
In our room.
Came to our room, had a personal masseuse come in and give both of us a massage for 90 minutes. It was great.
Phil didn't give you a massage?
No.
Unfortunately, no. Those big masculine hands, I think he'd give a great massage.
But Bertram did for sure, right?
I'm sure Bertram got a massage in every city.
I was very close to making a Shamir joke right now, but can't properly put it together.
You can edit it in later.
Oh no, he can't. I make Logan sound bad in the edit. That's kind of what I do.
So the Amazing Race has not visited India since your guys' season. They love to visit India pretty much every other season, if not multiple seasons in a row. Do you think it's because of all the troubles that Krista and Tiffany faced with the locals, or were there other issues on top of that we didn't get to see on TV?
Yeah.
No, but it was one of the few countries where there was a security, anything that was involved security where they had to get involved. Because even on the way back, we were supposed to get on a train and take a train back at a certain time, and they didn't feel safe because of all the equipment that we had with us, camera equipment. So they wound up putting us in vans, and we took 3 vans back instead of taking the train. So I think maybe that there's a little bit of a safety issue, but I think it's still a country that everybody should visit at one point in their life because it does change your whole perspective on things.
I also think, too, because they've been there so much that, maybe it was just time for them to explore somewhere new and maybe go back in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
And meanwhile, they visit China multiple times since your guys' season.
Well, China's definitely one of the few places on Earth where it's going to confuse most people. It's there's not many places you can go that you really feel like a fish out of water, and that's kind of one of them.
And to be honest, I feel like more people spoke English in India than they did in China.
That bodes well for me, because by the time this comes out, I will have been to Beijing.
Nice.
It kind of surprises me that China is so frequently visited, given how expensive the visas are.
That could be, but I think Bertram's got some sweet deal with them.
I mean, just speaking personally, it's about £151, I think it is, for a visa for what's going to be 3 days for me, and that's about $200, something like that.
Wow. That is pretty expensive for a visa.
I mean, I'm kind of spoiled that most other places I go to, I don't really need to spend money on visas, but yeah, China is expensive.
Well, we only used a couple visas on our season, There was a bunch of countries we didn't need them. So only 2?
Yeah. Brazil, India.
What about Zambia and Zimbabwe?
Oh, yeah. Okay, 3.
But who's counting?
Me.
Apparently, Colombia hates Canadians because when I went to Colombia, everyone was allowed to go into any line they wanted. But if you were Canadian, you had to go in a specific customs line, and then they charged you $94 Canadian to enter the country.
That's because you guys are so nice that they knew you would say, okay.
Just hand over the cash.
I'm sorry. Here's $100. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know, but every other country I went to in South America, Argentina, Uruguay, Panama, none of them wanted money from me upon entry, but Colombia was the one that just said, nope, this line, do not go into any of the other 9 lines.
That might be because of the way you looked, because you look like a mule.
It's Jesus. Jesus is entering our country. He looks very suspicious.
To be fair, it's rare for Logan to be the one accused of smuggling stuff in rather than being the one smuggled into things.
I like that.
Given your antics at the 28th finale party.
It
Yeah,
was just 2 glasses of wine, Michael.
We like to joke on the podcast that Logan was hidden in a food cart.
Any way I could get him in, man, he deserved it.
And for that, we are eternally grateful, Justin.
No problem, man. You guys are good at what you do, and you deserve some love.
Logan might be joining me for my first ever finale party next year, given that we've been invited to one in Belgium.
Oh, look at you! If you go to the mall, I would love to see you two at the mall finale.
Yeah, we spoke to the host when we were covering Mole, and he said, if you want to come to the finale next year, give me a shout. Hell yeah, I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm not going to turn that down.
That is awesome. You guys have to go.
Oh, we will. Well, I definitely will. I'm not sure if Logan's joining me yet, but...
Actually, I might be back in Europe by that time, because I leave here in December, go through Japan, Southeast... Yeah, I think I have a shot at being in Belgium by that time. Because it films in April? The finale?
May it was this year. But it was this year.
Yeah, because I want to be in the Balkans by May.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it's nice when you have no other obligations. And an online job. An online job now with teaching online certainly helps being a digital nomad for half the year.
Assuming you don't leave your laptop in Ibiza again.
Yeah, as long as I don't leave my laptop in Ibiza, it'll all be fine.
Right, and stay away from those pills in Ibiza.
Yes, and the Venga Boys. You guys had a lot of just one time. I didn't realize it until today, but your guys' season had a lot of one-time twists. There was no self-drive legs. There was a fast forward only on the first leg. There was the relay express pass, and then you guys didn't really have a real speed bump. It was 2 continuation legs and a hyper-extended roadblock.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, to continue legs. Obviously, we won both of those legs. Didn't get anything for it. Kind of pissed me off. But the other one, the roadblock for that Tanner and Josh wound up having to do, I think that was pretty tough and pretty hard to overcome, man.
Yeah, it seems like that was usually, especially with the American version, where about half the time the teams get eliminated in the same leg that they do a speed bump, or I guess a little less than half now. But that was one where they made it to a legit non-elimination penalty where you had to work hard to survive the leg. It wasn't to find a typewriter as in season 24.
Yeah, it's not eat a scoop of ice cream. That was a tough task, and Diana could speak to that.
Yeah, and it should have been you had 2, but we had 2 bundles to do for the roadblock. He should have only maybe had to do 1 bundle. I feel like that would have been a time-wise more appropriate speed bump than having to do the same exact thing.
Would Tanner and Josh have survived if that was minimized?
No, because Kelsey and Joey U-turned them.
Yes, they did. I'm looking at that Wikipedia chart right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would not have survived. There was zero chance they were surviving that leg anyway. Obviously, again, we got to the board first, and we chose not to use it. Diana really wanted to, like, when we talked about it, Diana was like, we don't need it. We could beat any team in this race. We don't need to U-turn somebody right now. Don't use it just to use it. And in my head, I was like, that's the final one. There's never been 3, so we might as well use it. And she was like, no, let's not use it. So.
My whole thing was, I mean, in high school, I used to row competitively. So my whole thing was I kind of chalked it up to, I know some people want to race against weak teams to better their chances of winning. But that would always leave doubt in my mind of, was I really the best, or did I manipulate? And I know it's $1 million, but in my head, I wanted to race against the best and beat the best to win. And that was just something that we had talked about, not taking out a strong team because it would better our chances. We wanted to race against the best and do it for ourselves.
You mean you didn't want to race the final leg against Kelly and Siobhan and see how they would have done in those memory challenges in the final leg?
I mean...
They'd still be there.
Would they have gotten any flags correct?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like they'd put much preparation into the race. It was just kind of a thing for them to be famous or travel together. I don't know.
Does anyone from the season... talk to them at all, or are they just completely on their own and segregated from the rest of you guys?
Siobhan tried for a little while because she was an actual fan of the race. So Kelly was just brought there because she was, Siobhan's friend. But Siobhan tried for a little bit, but pretty much we have our group, on Facebook, and they're the only 2 that haven't joined it. So
Kelly doesn't have Facebook, but Siobhan, I think, was in it or is in it.
Is she?
Yeah.
She doesn't comment then.
Logan and Chris are not in it, though.
Are Logan and Chris still together?
Yes, they are. They're still happy. They're still shooting photography in Miami.
They were just in Nashville.
Yeah, they were just in Nashville. Logan posted some beautiful pictures.
Still paddleboarding in their backyard canals.
Damn it, Michael.
Too slow, Saunders. Too slow.
They still paddle, and yes, she does. She loves paddling in their canals.
Still, hands down, my favourite thing I've ever read in a bio.
I bet. That and that somebody finally wants to go to Italy.
I know. It's always a shock when people want to go to Italy.
However, the Amazing Race Canada contestants say they just want to go to... This season, some of the bios, the teams wanted to go to some obscure towns in Newfoundland. They didn't want to go to Italy.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that for the 1 month of the year where it's not pure hell to live in Newfoundland. Has France banned you guys after the French laughter scene during the episode?
What?
When you did the ha 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 laugh that viewers love to respond to once that episode aired.
That thing's been cut and pasted.
That's the Frankenbite?
The Frankenbite, I guess, yeah.
Oh, I'm like, I never said that. It's still in my head. I don't think that's real. That's like, people got to know a Frankenbite when they hear it. No? Do people still fall for that?
Yeah, people still fall for that. Bearing in mind, people still fall for our fake podcasts when we occasionally do them. We've not done one of them for a while, actually.
Yeah, that's what happens when Amazing Race loves to air 12 episodes in the span of 6 or 7 weeks now.
Yeah, that was sad. That was sad. I hope that they bring it back. I mean, I love that the day of the week it was on, the time of the day, and I'm just looking forward to that. If they put it on during another actual primetime schedule where kids can watch with their families, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, and especially, nothing says family-friendly moments like having multiple cast members from season 20 be able to reignite their rivalries together. And Colin and Christy, of course, very, very family-friendly antics with them during season 5.
Listen, you never know how people change. You got to give them a chance. They're new teams. Old teams, new again. Although the Afghanimals will probably be exactly the same.
Yeah, I met them at the season 29 finale. Or not them, I only met, which one was it? I can never remember which
Jamal.
one. Jamal, yeah, I think Jamal was at the 29 finale. And yeah, I get the impression they're not going to be changing all that much. You guys said that the penalty you guys had with the Star Ferries in Macau and Hong Kong, that it was more confusing on which ferry to take than what television portrayed it to be?
Yes, because it made it seem like that guy, like I told the guy it was okay to send me to a place I didn't want to go to. When he said, I'm going to take you to this, and I said, don't take me to that, take me to where this says. And then he writes down the place that's closer, and then we get there, we're both confused. It doesn't feel right.
Because they didn't have the tickets. Like, they didn't have the
Grand Premiere seats.
The Grand Premiere seats. So when we said that, she was like, no, like, we don't have that, we have this. We're like, okay, is that like this? And they're like, yeah. And then when we said, did you see anybody else that's like us with backpacks? And they said, no. We knew we were behind, so we're thinking...
Did we get ahead of everybody? Is it a possibility? But something felt just wrong.
It just felt off, yeah.
There was 3 times during the race where the gut just told us something was wrong, and I didn't follow it. And it's something that I tell everybody that asks me as a part of the race. Like, one of the bits of advice is to literally really trust your gut. When you feel like something's wrong, it is. But at that point, it was just too late. And, I mean, as you could see, it ripped my heart out. When he said, you know...
By the way, you have a penalty.
You never want to hear that. Like, you never want to hear when Phil does that pause. Oh, my. Oh, however. Oh.
All these years later, I can still hear the pain and agony from that penalty by the sound of your voice.
Yeah, it hurt, man. And it hurt because that's when I knew... That's when I finally knew that Kelsey and Joey really didn't want us to win. I thought they were genuinely rooting for us to be like 1 and 2 together, but that's when I realized that they just wanted us out.
And what was the difference that sent Krista and Tiffany out of the race?
Well, Diana obviously she beasted that challenge. She did it. It took her, 1/5 less time than it did Krista to do the challenge, but we also got lucky because the cab driver went past the pit stop, because as it was like a few minutes left, and we saw the camera crew started getting up. Phil and everybody went to the mat, and we were like, oh my God, we lost. Everybody's getting ready. Everybody's quiet. They're coming. And then everybody was waiting. And then we were still sitting there. We were waiting. And we were waiting. And camera crew was set up. Everybody was set up. And I guess, obviously, after we heard that the taxi driver went past where they had to stop, and Krista and Tiffany had to run all the way back.
Too, when I was getting my makeup done.
Oh, yeah.
They had told, like, I guess the manager or the supervisor of the makeup said, like, it has to take 15 minutes. So the woman was done my makeup, I'm not kidding, in probably about 5 minutes, 7 minutes. And she said, like, I'm done. And the woman was like, no, it has to take 15 minutes. So I'm guessing for everybody that was one of those things where it was a set amount of time. That way some people didn't finish their makeup sooner. So that kind of broke my heart, because I knew, okay, I'm sitting here and this woman's done, but I still have to just wait. And then I get dressed, I go downstairs, and I'm in the elevator, and I'm ready to go. And she was like, no, you just, quote unquote, you just missed this show. You have to wait 20 minutes. And that's when I just kind of lose it, thinking like, oh my God, like, we're going to go home. It felt like it was my fault, but just having to sit there, wait 20 minutes for the other show to go or to finish, it was hard. That was just a very tough leg.
What was the most surprising thing about any of the other teams on the race that you didn't learn about till after you're watching the episodes on TV?
How much everybody talked about us, and I guess how we were perceived, because I'll never forget it. We were in France, and we were running to the airplanes, and we were chugging up this this huge, I mean, it must have been a 2-mile hill. And we were all by ourselves, and we knew that we had kind of jumped on the train before, and we got to where we needed to be before everybody else. And Justin and I, we're holding hands, and we're motivating each other. And, you know, we kind of said, like, you know, America's going to love us. Like, we're doing so well. We're such super fans. We're respecting everybody. You know, we're getting along with our cast that, like, we're just doing really, really well.
And we made sure that we were great with all the locals. We stopped. We greeted them. Again, I danced everywhere we went. Diana was so kind to everybody, and we genuinely thought we were going to be like the America's Sweetheart team of the season.
And even like the little bickering that we would do, it was never like serious blowout yelling fights. It would be like, you know, the eyes at each other, or, you know, I mean, we've been together for 10 years, and I feel like you fight more with your significant other than you would a friend, so that's kind of expected. But when we went back and watched it and heard what people were saying about us and the feedback that people were giving us online, I mean, that was heartbreaking, because in your head, like, you only know the race that you're running. And then when you see other comments and people saying things in interviews, you're like, wow, I didn't know that that's how they felt.
Yeah, it was obviously for me, two big things. Kelsey and Joey, I genuinely thought that they were in alliance with us the whole time, and obviously from the beginning, he was the puppet master. Oh God, I hated that. I hated that quote. Irked me. But that really was a surprise to me that they were the whole. You know, they never wanted us to be really a part of any final anything with them. So that kind of was, and then at the bus stop, when again, in the extra footage clips, if I know that's hardly anybody watches those, but the extra footage clips, there's a time in like Buenos Aires when they're all kind of gathered around and they're like, oh, they're going home, and we got this whole alliance thing going on, and, and they're kind of being mean, almost like high school locker room type talk, and it was like, wow, this is kind of what you get when you get two frat boys leading the way. Like, everybody just fell into that same high school mentality type of thing. It was just, I don't know, it was just really weird to watch afterwards.
You know it's bad when Logan and Chris are portrayed as America's sweethearts.
How do you compete with that?
I know. When we're the bad guys on the season with Logan and Chris.
Were there any injuries or troubles with the law that we didn't get to see on TV, whether it be you guys or any of the other teams on the race?
Logan!
No, I mean, everyone was pretty sick in Africa. You know, like, almost like cold symptoms.
Logan grew up in India, not Logan, Chris. Chris was really sick in India, which is, again, one of the reasons why we U-turned him. But he's a beast. I have to give him credit. Like, he's a monster, man. He beasted right through all those tasks, and he gained a lot of respect from me after that. But as far as things you didn't really see, I don't think so. No real injuries. There's a lot of people after the challenge, the Gaucho challenges with the boots, where we had to dress up. A lot of people had blisters, like real big blisters from these rubber boots. So a lot of people were suffering with their feet.
And I understand that Kelsey ran the final. Didn't she have something wrong with her tailbone or something during the final?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
She chipped her tailbone when she jumped into the water.
Yeah, at the Dancing Waters thing. When she jumped in, she kind of busted up her tailbone. You're right.
Oof.
Which is why you could see she runs funny at the end. She's running wobbly a little bit, but she wasn't running like that the rest of the race.
I will say though, that jump, I give Krista, I can't even, I give her all the credit that's due in the world for completing that jump 5, maybe 6 times, because I did that jump once and my ears and head were messed up for, a week or 2 after that. I don't know what I did, but I was not right after that jump. I never wanted to do it again. So for her to do it 5 times,
Yeah, there was some times when in Poland, there was that rock challenge where we had to break the rocks, put them inside the wheelbarrow, and then salt, and then lift it up and dump it into the coal mine things. That really bruised up my arms a lot, lifting those things up. The volleyball, which was with the soccer ball, bruised up our arms. A lot of people had bruises on their arms from that. But there's no real
Injuries.
No real injuries. Besides Kelsey, I guess Kelsey was the only one who really got hurt.
It's worse with the House of Dancing Water if you consider that I now know someone who works there. I know one of the sound technicians there now.
Oh, look at you. Got connections.
I know.
Get us some tickets.
You only have to dive in to get them.
Yeah, they're at the bottom of the pool attached to a goldfish.
Which everybody thought these things were going to be at the bottom of the pool, so everybody was diving so deep, and they were like, a couple feet down.
Well, yeah, that was what I thought. Like, when I jumped in, I immediately tried to swim to the bottom,
She's like, I can't do it.
There's no way you could swim to that bottom without a tank on or something.
It's like, I can't do it. And I'm like, oh, that's when they show me, like, a breaking down. She gets up, like, she
and then
can't reach the bottom.
I'm pretty sure, like, I went to the side to get my bearings and to see if you could see these goldfish. But I'm pretty sure if you rewatch it, you might be able to see the people, like, standing and dancing on the side, like, pointing. I don't think that it was...
Nobody noticed it yet. I don't think anybody noticed it during the challenge, but when you're watching it back, it looks like
I'm pretty sure that they're pointing in places.
They were it looks like those people were trying to help the contestants where the fish were, but I don't think anybody noticed.
Like, on purpose, maybe that was, like, what they were instructed to do. Like,
right.
I don't know. But I feel like I kind of knew where to go because they were pointing. But maybe it was just them dancing. I don't know. But I will tell you that, that took everything I had in me. I mean, there were two that really took everything, and that was the paintings in Rotterdam, because I never thought to look at the vase. I had gotten the flowers right all 3 times I got it wrong, but the same wrong vase. The laundry task, that was probably
Krista.
like...
By the way, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Krista, for telling me what vase it was. The laundry task, and then that jumping, because I'm terrified of heights. That literally, when I was like backstroking to that boat to give them the fish, it took everything that I had in me.
So the bungee jump wasn't terrifying then at all?
Oh, not at all. I mean, I kind of just chalked it up to, look, if I die, I die. It's my time. I'm really big on, like, signs sometimes. So we were running across the bridge to the bungee jump. To my left, there was, I don't know if it was the sun or the moon, but on one side of the bridge, there was the most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen. And to the right of the bridge was the biggest full moon I've ever seen. And to have them both in the same, like, frame, kind of, like I'm looking over the bridge and I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this. But I'm looking at this big, beautiful moon. I'm looking at this big, beautiful sunrise. And I'm just like, this is the most peaceful, beautiful thing that I could be seeing. And I'm in Africa. So
it was amazing. It really was.
I always say that before I jumped, as terrified as I was, this like wave of calmness just came over me. When they were counting down, I just kind of took a leap of faith, and I ended up laughing and crying at the bottom because I couldn't believe I did it.
And if nothing else, at least you didn't cry as much as Scott Flowery.
Yes.
Or her husband.
And you know you're going to be fine when the harness can hold Kevin and Drew just fine.
Yeah, but then literally when we came back, we watched a video of somebody from that same place, same bungee jumping, falling in.
What?
There is a clip online. You can watch the same jump that they made, that it hits the bottom, and then when they get to the bottom, it snaps, and then they fall in.
What would have been great is if they show you guys that video right before the task and see if anybody does it, and see how long it takes for Micah to quit that roadblock before she even jumps too.
That would have been, I think that would be the way to do it. You mix a little fear factor in with the Amazing Race like that, show them like clips of videos of places that are really dangerous and they make you do something in those places. I think you're onto something.
You gotta up the ante. Maybe they'll do that for 31.
Hey, you gotta get bigger, more extreme. Amazing Race Extreme.
You thought Jen and Christy were Team Extreme. Now just wait for what we have in store for next season.
Even more extreme.
Jeez.
This is a short podcast. Jesus, let's go. It's 7 o'clock. I gotta go back to work.
Have Josh and Tanner ever sold you guys any of their leggings?
They're what?
They're leggings. The leggings, because.
Oh no.
But Tanner did come with the smallest backpack and only had like one change of clothes.
Yeah. I had to sit next to him.
He stank.
I will tell you, he did not smell pleasant.
No?
He was great to look
has
at.
An odor problem?
Well, when you really I'm not kidding. I think he brought like 3 pairs of underwear, 2 pairs of shorts, 2 pairs of pants, and 3 shirts.
And got rid of half of it.
Yeah, I mean, and the quality of laundry that you can do in the sink is not the greatest. So
He looked good, but he stank.
That's how you get on all the magazine covers. At least there's no smell-o-vision as of yet.
Some people are attracted to that, right, Michael?
Don't look at me.
Was there any final memory challenge that you guys wouldn't have been prepared for?
Oof. Good luck with that. We took some vigorous notes. Like every word that every greeter said, the colors of everything the greeters had on.
What the money was, hello, goodbye, thank you.
Obviously, anything that's been done in the past, we did.
I mean, we would be able to identify them on a globe. The only thing is, like, if they gave you the shape of the place with no other context, that might be
the
difficult.
shape of the country?
The shape of the country.
We probably didn't memorize all the shapes, but we probably could have figured that out.
That would be hard.
It would be. No, I mean, obviously you saw when the firefighter challenge, that was pretty cool that they had the capitals that you had to get. The only thing that stunk about that is there was like 3 that you didn't use. There should have been probably 10 you didn't use, and I think it would have really caused some separation. Might have been 1?
There's 1 that you didn't use.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
There's 1.
Diana says there was 1, even though she wasn't really there for the challenge, but.
You could double source that one as well.
Jeez.
And then you can tell who's winning this, who's right.
There you go. That's a 3. That's 3. They got a double source. So somebody's in the lead 2-1 right now.
Not necessarily. Someone could be winning 3-0.
You're right, but I didn't want to rub it in. No, so that was a decent challenge. What would have made it better? Having more, obviously. The flag challenge, that would have been a decent challenge had there been more fake ones put in there.
Yeah, like we knew the flags right away. I mean, I was like, this flag, because we drew the flags, I filled in the colors.
I got it right. I got my challenge right on the first, and she got the flag thing right on her first try. Like all of them were easy. The one that I got wrong twice was the chairs, and that's because I was already pissed at that point because it definitely wasn't as close as TV made it seem. In the first challenge, we lost probably 45 minutes to an hour taking the wrong bus. We're getting on the bus and letting the cab go. And we caught up and probably, it wasn't like within 1 or 2 minutes like TV made it seem. It was probably with 15 minutes. We could have finished, and then I got pissed off and I was kind of moping. So we definitely took a long time to finish in second. I was so sad because I saw the boom mic. Like when Kelsey and Joey finished and then went running across the thing, I saw a boom mic, not a mic, it was a boom go up in the air, and I figured there's the finish line, and we lost. There's no chance for us to catch up after this, and man, my heart broke so, I don't even like talking about it.
Yeah, that'd be tough to have to do a task after you see the victory slip through your fingers, I guess.
Yeah, man, it was more than just that, man.
If there was one more task
anything
that took some time that was really challenging, we would have had that, I think. I know.
Even falling behind an hour, 45 minutes to an hour in the beginning, like, we got everything done quick. It was, it's just, whatever. I guess it wasn't meant to be.
We've actually interviewed, when we interviewed the Amazing Race Canada contestants, because we've interviewed both Wolf from season 4 and then Hal from season 1, and they were talking about how, for a lot of the Amazing Race Canada contestants, and especially themselves, that even with Hal being eliminated as early as he did a lot of preparation. I don't know if you guys listened to that podcast, but he went to Chevrolet dealerships practicing with their stick shift models, figuring out what cars were going to be used because he already knew that Chevrolet was going to be a sponsor for Amazing Race Canada, and he was
Love that.
and he memorized everywhere that Air Canada flew domestically, like which airports it flies between in the country. And
That's smart.
yeah, like it was the most in-depth preparation I've heard anybody do for the race. And he was saying that even with him being eliminated as early as he was, that he was like, I knew what the final memory challenge was going to be, and he went through, if we just survived that fifth leg, then this would have happened, and then I would have won. So even, do you think that, were there other teams on your season that also go through that same what-if moments, even if it's not being a couple tasks short of the finish line, like teams that were eliminated, say in like 9th or 8th or 7th,
100%.
that are convinced that they would have won the race?
I don't know if Krista and Tiffany think they would have won the race, but I know that things would have been really different. I mean, in Macau, there's so many little things that could have changed their whole race. A lot of times along the race, even in Rotterdam, after Krista got her task, she told Diana what Diana was doing wrong, and we wound up passing them and winning that leg. During that same leg, within seconds, they missed a trolley. And that's the scene where you probably have a screen grab of me and Diana turning around with this crazy look on our face like we're shocked. That's because we saw Krista and Tiffany literally miss the trolley by seconds, and then we beat them and got the $31,000. Like that leg, there was 2 ways they could have changed that whole leg. And them winning that leg could have changed the whole momentum of everything else. So there's a lot of people, I don't know if, to be honest, anybody believed they could beat us by the end. Like, as things were going, I don't think anybody truly believed they could. They were hoping that we would do something to mess up.
I know you guys had an easier time with flights during your season. In fact, Travelocity made it very easy for you guys during the Poland leg. Was there any flight scrambles where you legitimately had to fight for the best flight, or did they equalize you guys quite frequently?
No, but let me just make a comment about Travelocity app. I mean, who knows though, because you had to have 4 seats. So who knows if the other teams after us, there wasn't 4 seats and that's why they had such a problem. I don't know if did they legit have?
Everybody had it. Everybody had a problem.
Okay.
We love Travelocity. I'll never say a bad word about them. And I think we would have won the Poland leg with or without the lead. I mean, we did every task fast. We didn't get lost. We beasted the Poland leg. So I don't think that would have mattered. And we didn't slow down. I was confident we were in the lead. Diana wasn't so much. So we did everything just as hard and as fast as we would have if there was a team on our heels. But yeah, we wind up pretty much at the finish line while people were landing.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but the edit was a bit misleading on TV where you guys were at the pit stop even before the second plane landed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Was that another example of one of those 2-hour legs?
For us, was that a 2-hour?
No, that was probably.
Yeah, it took a little while though, because we had to go. I mean, the breaking of the salt took a while. Loading that up took a while. Then traveling, and what do we have to do after that? The waiter thing, the waiter challenge. The waiter challenge was actually pretty fast. I was pleasantly surprised with how well I did on that challenge.
It could have been 2 hours if you perfected it.
No. I don't think. I think that would have been a little longer if it was perfect. Because we did run it perfect.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that we did it as perfectly as you could do it. We knew that we never wanted to beg for money in a country.
Ever.
And if we ever given the chance that we would do something physical over something that was at the mercy of others, whether being judged, whether relying on people to help you or give you money. So we just knew that if we beasted through the salt, that we'd get it done. So I feel like every decision we made the right decision as far as task completion, for quickness and things like that.
Even the needle in the haystack cell phone challenge in our head, it was like...
I'd like to know how many phones actually worked.
Yeah, how many of those phones actually worked would have been interesting to see, but there was only hundreds, so there wasn't thousands of phones like some people could have expected, but I definitely think we finished that task faster than everybody else finished the...
If we would have
Taylor.
gone to the right place.
Yeah, if we would have just walked right down the street.
Yeah, I think Amazing Race Asia did the cell phone task too, and they had a stretch of episodes where they had major needle in a haystack challenges. And I believe in that one they did throw in like thousands of phones for people to look through. They had another one where it was a DVD challenge where I don't think one team even got to finish it because the mall shut down.
Oh my god.
There was something about that. What was the deal with everybody clapping and or taunting each other as they were being eliminated during the middle of the season? Seemed like that happened quite a bit. I think in the Zimbabwe and then like the Amsterdam leg where you have Denise and James Earl always applauding the team that was coming in right behind them, where you couldn't tell if it was, oh, you guys did so well, or hey, we beat you to the mat. Couldn't tell if it was taunting or genuinely rooting the other team on as they were being eliminated.
No, I think the only team that people had problems with were Chris and Logan and Kelly and Scheman. I don't really think that there was like personal, and I guess us, but personal beef with anybody that, for anybody to throw shade at anybody else. I mean, trust me, James Earl can get a little snarky sometimes, but I didn't think he was throwing any shade in those episodes.
Just think that's how they do it in the South. They're just nice.
Just applaud everyone on. We barely beat you. Congratulations, but you're gone.
Yeah. Bless your heart.
Bless your heart, yes. Did you guys ever consider trolling television when you guys were at the orphanage and they wanted you to make every team donate money? Was there ever a thought of, I wonder how hated we can get by the casual audience if we just gave away $1, knowing full well that production's probably going to replenish your funds with the next clue?
No, Chris said he was going to take care of that for us.
I cried because I didn't have more to give.
Yeah, she was upset because we didn't. We were like, oh, we would have saved more money, like items, and she cried because we didn't have any chance to see the kids, to like hang out with the kids. We had to immediately.
I brought
run.
tattoos. I mean, like I had really wanted to spend time with kids in a country, and I couldn't.
You missed out on hosting Family Edition.
Yes.
Yes.
But Logan and Chris, yeah, they got some heat for not giving away as much as
I can't believe that, man. When I saw that, I did not believe it. I was like, whoa, man, you're on TV? What would it be like if the cameras weren't on? Like, you wouldn't give any donations.
Logan, give him $1.
Oh, man, I felt so bad. Because he's a good dude. He's just different, man.
At least he didn't pull a Nolea and give them like a used peppermint from his mouth or something.
I don't think that worked out. I think that right there sealed them never wanting to come back. The reaction from that sealed the deal on them never wanting to come back on the race.
So they didn't get a call for 31 then?
It doesn't matter. If they got a call, they would a big no. They would say hell no. They were one of the few teams that kind of regretted going on the race.
Did anyone else regret it?
I think Kelly and Scheman.
I think Kelly and Scheman regretted it. I can't speak 100%, but I would say Kelly and Scheman regret going on a race.
Or maybe they just regret talking so much smack.
I thought we were smarter than them.
Yeah, they went for some really low-hanging fruit there with their commentary.
Yeah, man, and they gave James Earl a nickname that stuck for so long. It was just so mean, man. Denise and like, yeah. You could be funny without being mean.
Would Denise have given roadblock advice to Kelly and Siobhan out of turn if they were still in the race, or would Denise not even speak out of turn at a roadblock for them?
You can't stop Denise. She's a one-man wrecking crew.
Force of nature.
She's one MC.
And listen, the only thing that she was bad at on the race was running, and as soon as she got back, she started running marathons, and now she can outrun all of us.
Really? Like, if you put Jasmine, Danielle, and Denise in a long-distance race, Denise would kick their asses.
No.
Denise would kick their asses long distance. I think they would kick Denise's asses a short distance.
I think we we have the sequel to Shaq Versus on our hands.
Now we're talking. And then they all race a cheetah.
And then they all yes. And the cheetah starts off behind them, and everyone has to hang Argentine beef, gaucho beef, along their backs and see how it all plays out.
There we go. I like this.
And Cecil the lion is in the race too, right with the cheetah. Yeah, there'll be a poacher behind Cecil the lion and the cheetah, and see who goes the fastest.
Too far, Logan. Too far.
I think he just crossed the line.
There is no line on this podcast.
There is.
Well, yes, there's been one line. A very narrow line.
Is it a finish line, and are we getting there soon?
I think Justin wants us to wrap it up.
I think it's a to be continued,
I'm picking up on a subtle hint.
Yes. Okay, Justin. How would you like to close out this podcast? Is there anything else that you want our listeners to know about your time on the race?
First off, I want to make sure that you got every question you want to get out. I don't want to rush you, but I do have work to do.
I think that was every question. We even fit in the early couple of rapid fire questions in the form of "Are you pregnant?" and "Which is your favorite member of Backstreet Boys and NSYNC?"
Awesome. Listen, I loved it. I was truly a kid in a candy store. Half the stuff that you saw on there wasn't me trying to taunt anybody. It was genuinely my excitement and me trying to not hold back my excitement to try to look cool like some people on the race do. They're just too cool to like show their emotions. I loved.
He was 100% who he was, is and can be. Loved
my time on the race. I really did. And I really wanted to dance and have fun everywhere we went. I wasn't trying to, like, at no point was I trying to, like, throw people off, like, when people saying gaucho, like, that wasn't me trying to throw it off.
That's Justin having a great time.
That's just me. I was the kid in the candy store living a dream. And I do it again, whether there's $1 million involved or not. I mean, it's truly a dream come true.
And we would probably do it if there wasn't $1 million on the line. In a heartbeat.
Yeah. But it's something I'll always love, and I'll never regret anything about it except not paying the cab driver. Other than that, everything else is good. And screaming at Diana, obviously, the one time that I did.
And as always, you can send if any fan mail goes to Justin and Diana's respective accounts on social media, and any hate mail, of course, can be directed to
yeah, just send me the hate mail, because you go after Diana and then we got problems, and I'm going to come find out where you live, and then it's not going to be social.
Talking of sending people mail, you did promise us care packages.
You're correct. You're absolutely correct. We are moved, literally just moved. We got something special for you guys as well.
We're going to write this down so we remember.
Yes. No problem, right? Is this the thing? Oh, yeah, no problem. We're going to send that to you. Write it down. She's writing it now.
And the one quick fire question we haven't asked yet: who would win in a fight between a baboon and a badger?
A badger.
A baboon.
What?
Baboon.
We usually hear baboon. We've heard some very strong cases for the baboon, but Diana says badger, so now we need to know why a badger would win. We need more people in the badger's corner.
Because honey badgers never lose, right? Do they lose? I mean,
yeah, they don't give a shit.
Just Google honey badger, and I mean, if you Google honey badgers, they win in videos.
That's my argument with Justin.
They got better videos online.
I didn't know that I would need to back it up. I just thought it was gut instinct. I do know baboons, like, apes will rip you apart, but I don't know. I just went honey badger. I just went badger.
We want the teacher point of view here.
Well, I would tell my students, that's a great question. Let's find out. Let's look it up.
There's no way a badger could beat a baboon. You kidding me? There's not even a chance.
I'm Googling it.
You don't have to. What is a badger going to do? Bite his toes?
I'm thinking of a Wolverine. Aren't Wolverines nasty?
Now, Wolverine and a baboon
No,
is a good fight.
not the Wolverine, a Wolverine.
Well, the Wolverine and a baboon.
Not Logan as Wolverine.
Ant-Man versus Wolverine. Who's winning?
Oh, my. This is... I think I've said earlier in the podcast, but this is a complete 180 from our discussions with Kelly yesterday.
Well, that means, what, one of us is a good interviewer, one's a bad interviewer?
I'm just saying one was a lot more off-topic, with really getting carried away than the other. Although, actually, we did get quite off-topic with Kelly. I think it's just the nature of these interviews. It's not the usual CBS early show where BuddyTV exit interviews you do, where it's like, what was your favorite country? What was your favorite time on the race? Yeah. Oh, that's it. That's all the questions we have, because we don't watch the other seasons or know anything about The Amazing Race.
Well,
how did you feel being portrayed as a villain?
I'm a super fan, and I reach out to as many of the Amazing Racers, past and present, as I can, to help them out, to communicate, just to kind of, I mean, I really genuinely think of us as a family, and I encourage you guys to support the reality TV people who are giving back when they do these reality TV events. I would encourage you and your listeners to support them when they do some fun stuff like that. It's a cool opportunity for us to kind of keep our 15 minutes of fame while helping some people out as well. So.
And they're all partying in Vegas together at the end of the month?
Yeah, not stuff like that. Not those types of that event is somebody making cash for themselves. Not those, like, Big Brother parties. None of the Big Brother parties are ever for charity. Those Big Brother parties are for money. It's when the survivors and the Amazing Racers do something, they give back to charities.
Yeah, so it's not like Derek's dad's celebrity events.
Anyway, we love you guys.
One final question that I have, sorry. How much do you hate Rob Has a Podcast?
Rob, listen, I don't hate Rob.
We listened to Rob when we first were on the race.
Yeah, like he was the only good podcast during our season, so no. Listen, Rob has his place. Rob, I think he thinks he's more important than he is, unfortunately. He was really cool with me up until we were scheduled to meet, and he was like, yeah, I'll meet you, and then ghosted me, and then never really responded to anything afterwards. Like, yeah, I don't understand why. But I think you guys are real fans. I mean, he's doing it just to do it. He's a Survivor guy. He only covered Amazing Race because of his brand or whatever he's trying to do. So you could tell that in their work, and that's why they reached out to you guys to try to get some real fans to write about The Amazing Race. So I'm glad that you're at least making his website look somewhat respectable.
I won't go that far with some of Logan's blogs, but...
Yeah, with my foreign survivor blogs.
No, we appreciate you guys, man, and what you do.
You guys are helping keep us relevant.
We try.
and you know, I consider you guys friends.
Yeah, we consider you friends, so... Isn't this sweet? Sweet ending.
What a sweet ending.
Hugs all around. It's like the ending to Aladdin.
Go
Robin
team!
Williams says Genie.
All right, guys. You guys can go fuck yourself now. Can I gotta go work?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, we can get rid of all the politeness. The interview's over. Yeah, your 15 minutes is done.
No.
We did our away game on your podcast, and then we got to do the home game by having you guys come on our podcast.
We appreciate that.
Awesome.
And you guys are always welcome, and thank you for supporting our videos as well.
Oh, no worries.
No problem.
You can stop thumbs downing them now.
I can't promise. I'll see how much it annoys you.
We will not thumb up nor thumb down.
There you go. All right, everybody, go check out the Races recap. Other than that, peace. We love you. Amazing Race.
Yeah.
Later, guys. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this URT Number podcast. You can join us next week for another interview. If you've got any questions, feel free to contact us on our Facebook page, Reality TV Warriors, on our Twitter account, RTV Warriors, our own Twitter pages, MJ Harmstone for me, and Logs for Quirky for Logan. See you next time.
Peace out and just chill till the next episode.